Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Buon lunedì, fantastic Monday to all the people that are starting the week back. Attention, because we don't stop. Tomorrow we already play Champions League against Lille. Also the channel will not stop because today I'm planning to do two videos. This one where we will start to introduce the game of tomorrow, Lille, Juventus in Champions League. And then of course coming back on what happened this weekend, grazie Gasperini. Moise Kean on fire. Do we start to have some regrets of selling Moise? We'll come back on our beloved Juventus, of course, and then the second video after the press conference of Thiago Motta after the last training session before the game of tomorrow with the latest updates about our beloved Juventus. Don't forget to put that notification ring on because don't miss the two videos of today. Ragazzi, I'm back in Belgium after a fantastic weekend in London. You know it, I already said it multiple times and I continue to confirm. London is one of my favorite cities in Europe. Then, of course, if I'm invited by OneFootball, if I'm there with Serie A, meeting Juventini of the world, recording with them is just crazy. But there was one thing that I was missing more than ever, and more than everything, il caffè. Because you can say a lot of things about London, but the coffee in London is not the best one in the world, so I'm super happy. You see, it's already empty because it's not the first time that I'm recording that video. I can already tell you. Anyway, ragazzi, can you please help me? Because the latest video that I recorded there in the cold of London, in the nature, it's not that we had the maximum of views, so I'm really counting on you to put a maximum of like. If you didn't yet, and if you trust the quantity, the quality of the content that we are producing here, also with shorts that you can find in the short tabs, put a maximum of like, subscribe to the channel, continue also to interact so that we can make that channel bigger and bigger and bigger. Ragazzi, now that we did the basics, what are the schedule, not of GJustjuve, but about our beloved Juventus. Today, 10 minutes after 11, I don't know why 10 minutes after 11, but maybe they need to lace the shoes. Well, there will be the training session in La Continassa, the last one before the game of tomorrow of Juventus. One thing is sure, we'll see a lot of players, but not Nico Gonzalez. He will miss the game of tomorrow. Not the big chances that he will be there for the last game before international break against Torino. Derby della Mole. Probably we'll see him after the international break. But tomorrow he will not be there. That's already nearly confirmed. Nico Gonzalez out. The other players, let's see if Douglas Luiz will be there or not. That's why also pay attention to the words of Thiago Motta in the second video. Then there will be the press conference in France from Lille, from the coach. There will be their training session where we'll know a bit more about them. And then at 6 p.m. press conference of Thiago Motta with the player next to him. If I'm not wrong, we already saw Perin, Locatelli, Cambiaso. I'm curious to see who will be the fourth player next to Thiago Motta. Now that we did the schedule, please, can we go towards what happened this weekend? Can we say thank you to Gasperini? Well, Tuttosport is opening with a picture of Retegui that is celebrating the 3-0 over Napoli. Magician Gasperini is opening again the Serie A. Is giving again a chance for everyone to compete for the title of Serie A. What a big picture, opening with that image of Retegui without shirt celebrating that 3-0. Because it's not only that Napoli yesterday lost, but they also lost big time against Napoli in their home. Mamma mia, 3-0. Lookman on fire, Retegui on fire, Charles de Ketelaere on fire. They are there. So should we say grazie Gasperini, thank you Atalanta, thank you Lookman, etc., etc.? I don't know, because if it's true that Napoli is stopping there at 25 with their second loss of the season, well, Atalanta is there at -3 for them, +1 over Juve, already beating a big one, not Napoli, that we were not able to beat because we did 0-0 in our home. They are there at -2 from Inter, an Atalanta that is running. An Atalanta not only running, but also believing that they win the Scudetto. Look, Gasperini said it yesterday. What about the Scudetto? It's possible if we continue like that. Then we know that Atalanta is a team that typically has two ups, big ups in the season, two really big downs in the season. At the moment, they are in that up moment. If they continue that up moment, well, everything is possible. I already told you in the summer, how many times did I repeat you, that Gasperini was pissed off with the management of Atalanta because their objective was to win the Scudetto this year. I already told you, and we start more and more to speak about it, especially after the performance of yesterday. Look, can they do it? Yes, they can. They were missing one thing, the conviction that they can win something. And after 9 seasons, because this is the 9th season of Gasperini, they are closer than ever. They started without any objective or huge objective, without any pressure, and they build it. One season after one season after one season, and they get every time closer and closer and closer to the dream of the Scudetto. I told you the win of the Europa League last year was a big one, because a lot of people were expecting the first trophy of Atalanta would have been an easier Coppa Italia, which they didn't because it was Juventus that won, but they won the one in Europa League against a Leverkusen that until that day was unbeaten. So they really believe that they can do something big. Do I regret? Let's speak about regrets. Do I regret having Gasperini at Juve? In a way, yes, because he was our youth coach years ago, but not now, not today. I regret that we didn't take him after the first spell of Allegri when we went for Sarri, because that was, according to me, the perfect moment. We were in a winning streak at that moment after Allegri. I think that Gasperini would have had a really strong team where he would have had probably a bit of time to implement his game, which he did with Atalanta. Gasperini, we know it, to implement his pattern, his DNA. It's a coach that really need a lot of time. Tranquillo, there, and then you really see a team of Gasperini. That's what we actually did a few years later with Thiago Motta. After Sarri, Pirlo, the second spell of 3 years of Allegri, we went for maybe a mini Gasperini. Not that it's a copy-paste, but we know that one of the maestri, one of the masters, the mentors of Thiago Motta, one of them is Gasperini. Well, we need to give also Thiago Motta time. We already start seeing some patterns. We already start seeing some ideas from Thiago Motta way of playing. Juventus from this season is totally different than the one of last season, than the one of 2 seasons before, even than the one of Pirlo, the one of Sarri. We need to give him time to Thiago Motta. Are we expecting him to win every single game, to win every single competition that we are playing today? If we expect that, and if that's the only thing that we will judge from Thiago Motta, well, then even Gasperini at Juve would have been a mistake, because that's not Gasperini, this is not Thiago Motta. So for all the people who are saying we should have gone for Gasperini, well, probably then we would have seen a bit the same situation with Thiago Motta, and probably these people would have written today on the 4th of November, Gasperini out if he didn't win all the games. Anyway, so no regrets. It's just a pity, but now I'm super happy with Thiago Motta. Yesterday, not only Atalanta won, but also Milan won this weekend. Also, Inter won. And if we are looking at the pages of today, we see 2 teams, and we see Atalanta on Gazzetta dello Sport, we see Inter on Gazzetta dello Sport with La Cima e Vicina. The top of the league is really close, with the Lautaro Martinez that went back in scoring in San Siro after, I believe, 8 months or so, or 9 months, something like that. 1-0 for them. La Ressa is the title of Corriere dello Sport, with the Lautaro Martinez, captain of Inter, that is celebrating. Napoli down, Napoli collapsed, Inter is at -1, and they are saying thank you to VAR, to VAR. Look, about the episode of yesterday, that controversial, possibly handball or not, from the team that was facing Inter, according to me, there is a foul. 99% there is a handball. There is not a clear image that he's touching it, but I believe that he touched it with the hand, and we know that in these cases, you don't even need to go to VAR, you have to immediately cancel the goal, and that's what they did. So according to me, it was correctly to cancel that goal from Venezia. On the other side, I remember Candreva, Juve Salernitana, that scored with his handball, and there nobody saw it. That's the difference, that's the big difference. Should have been cancelled. The goal of Salernitana 3 seasons ago or 2 seasons ago should have been cancelled yesterday, which they did. On the other side, even if there was not a handball, I really believe there was that push on the defender, on Bisek, which has not been condemned yesterday. So according to me, it was correct to do it. Now, what we can see is it's not the solid Inter from last season. Absolutely not. Far from. Yesterday, they risked a lot against Venezia. On the other side, it's Inter that continue to grab points to win, even if they are far from perfection. And that's something that Juventus needs to learn as well, winning when it's not possible. Yesterday was another win. I believe it's the 7th consecutive win from Palladino on the bench of Fiorentina. They have beaten Torino, that we will face next week, or no, this weekend, in the weekend. Yesterday, another goal from Moise Kean at the 42nd minute. Look, do I regret that we sold Moise Kean? Attenzione, because now I start to read a lot of people, but Moise Kean, we should have kept him. Look at what a striker. It's because of Allegri, this and this and this and this and that. No, I don't regret. You know what I regret? I regret that Moise Kean couldn't reach his potential when he was at Juve in that second spell, because it's a player that I adore. I saw him growing. I saw him from the youth academy to the first team. I saw his first steps in Serie A, first steps in Champions League, first goal being the fastest, well, actually the first 2000 born player to score in Champions League. It's a player that we always have a lot of affection for. I always defended him in the last few seasons, when I could, also putting him in one of my biggest disappointment. I believe the first season when he came back from Juve. If you're going back to the old archives of the tier list, we will see it. But it's a player that I always believed that he was a good player. Fenomeno? No. Good player, strong player? Absolutely yes. That he would have benefited Juventus? Probably yes. He couldn't deliver, and that's a reality. Allegri, no Allegri. He couldn't deliver like he couldn't deliver in Premier League as well when he was there. I think it was right choice for him to change city, to change club. And you see that now he's at his max potential, because he's a player that is playing with continuity. He is the undiscussed starter. He's receiving a lot from Palladino. He's receiving a lot from the city of Firenze. And he's paying back. At Juventus, I'm sure that he would not have done it. If you wanted to count on Moise Kean, probably you would have gone for a project where he was the undiscussed starter. Would you have been ready to put aside Dusan Vlahovic, or to not sign Dusan Vlahovic, to count on Moise Kean only? Let me know. And only then we can discuss. But Moise is not a bench player. He's a player that needs to start to deliver the performance that he's doing there. So, according to me, sometimes it's simply not working. And it works somewhere else. And Moise Kean is doing really well at Fiorentina. So I'm happy on a personal level for him. I'm not happy if I know that Fiorentina is at the moment with 1 point more than Juve. That's something that I don't like. Second part of the video, introducing Lille game of tomorrow. What are the two journeys of Juventus and Lille in Champions League? Is actually a mirror effect or a reverse effect. Juve that starts with 2 wins, and the last one, disaster, loss against Stuttgart. Juventus was totally exposed that game. I don't want to go back on that. And now Juventus needs to win again to interrupt that loss, because we need to have these 9 points as fast as possible. While Lille, the reverse side, they started with a loss against Sporting and then 2 miracles against Real Madrid, beating them 1-0, and also beating away from home Atletico Madrid 3-1 in a controversial game. Yes, it's true, but anyway, they beat them. So continuity is looked for Lille in Champions League. Juventus needs to go back to win. Continuity is needed for Juventus in terms of what we did against Udinese last weekend. That means winning, convincing, having a solidity in defense. Benatia, that is at the helm of l'Olympique de Marseille, in that management there, he played against Lille, and he said, look, if you want to beat Lille, you need one thing. You need the mentality of my Juve, the Juve of Max Allegri that he played with. That's what they need. A mentality that is showing that we are Juve, that on paper we are stronger than them, which will not be enough, because if we're looking at Real Madrid, if you're looking at Atletico Madrid, the name is not enough. And that's why you need to have that mentality. That's why you need to have that conviction, and also showing it on the field. We need to continue with continuity of result, of performance of that Udinese game, but also continuing to serve on that renewed enthusiasm. I tell you, that game of Udinese was extremely important, because if we didn't win that game, a draw or a loss, it would have been a total disaster, because Juventus would have lost all what we have built, all the confidence, because that draw against Parma, the loss against Stuttgart, they actually pained us a lot. They made us suffering a lot, so that enthusiasm found back against Udinese, we need to put it on the field there. And one of the players that will be there from the first minute is Conceição. If you're speaking about enthusiasm, he's one of the players. Another player that could start tomorrow, not sure, but could, surfing on that enthusiasm, in Savona. According to me, there is a doubt in terms of percentage who will start, who will not start between Cabal and Savona, because Cabal probably was in the head of Thiago Motta to start the game against Lille after the convincing performances of the latest games. He was one of the starters, and that's why he rested against Udinese. Savona started, so we would have seen Cabal on the left, Cambiaso on the right, Gatti and Kalulu in the middle of the defense. But now, after a beautiful performance, after that goal that he scored against Udinese, Savona could possibly be a starter again on the right with Cambiaso on the left. I like when Cambiaso is on the left, because we saw that when Cambiasi is on the left, Yildiz is performing even better. One thing I'm asking, if we start Savona tomorrow, I would play with a yellow shirt, with the away shirt. You know why? Because Savona is scoring. When we play with the away shirt, when we're playing away from home with that yellow shirt, Savona is scoring. Verona, Udinese, and maybe even tomorrow. Tomorrow, Gatti, Kalulu are there in the center of defense. The chosen defense from the supporters, these are the two that we have to play because we don't have Bremer. On the other side, pay attention, because Gatti, Kalulu against Jonathan David can be a big one. Because I didn't see Gatti and Kalulu at the top of their form against Udinese, especially not in that second half, so pay attention. The players that I'm counting on a lot tomorrow are Yildiz, that is continuing that performance in productivity up front, but also Teun Koopmeiners. Teun Koopmeiners needs to be really important in the game of tomorrow. He missed that goal. He's looking for his first goal. Who knows? It can come tomorrow. I wish Teun to give us that goal, but the most important, of course, is that he's scoring, yes or no, but that he's giving us the 3 point with a fantastic performance like we were waiting for Thuram, and he delivered against Udinese. Tomorrow, I want that it is the game of Teun Koopmeiners if we are able to not only go to the wings, but also centrally. We'll come back on tactics, on the words of Thiago Motta in the second video. In the meanwhile, if you didn't yet, please put a maximum of like, continue to subscribe to the channel. Grazie, forza, Juve.